Okay, so riddle me this. What happens when the AI tool you use every day still works, but something underneath it quietly changes? The box opens, the prompt sends, the answer comes back, but the output feels weaker, flatter, safer, and less useful than the workflow you built around it. That's the warning label. I still use ChatGPT, but I don't blindly trust OpenAI, and I don't need to. My workflows don't let the model think for me, especially in an AI era where access becomes a class divide. Some get the best models first, others get priced out, delayed, or blocked by government intervention. So use the tool, but don't depend on it blindly. Welcome back to the Neural Dojo. I'm Kyrie, aka KT, the AI Sensei, and today's simple. We're talking about OpenAI, how models get routed behind the scenes, and why using just one provider, like it's your whole plan, isn't a good idea. Let's get into it. So, a couple episodes ago, we talked about Fable 5. That was about what happens when access gets cut off, the government steps in, a platform flips a switch, and the model is gone. Everyone who built on top of it is suddenly scrambling. That's the loud version of the problem. This one is quieter. This is the one where the tool still works, you can still log in, but something underneath changes. The output gets weaker, the behavior shifts. Things that used to work just don't hit the same anymore. That's the version most people miss. Let me be clear. I'm not anti-OpenAI. I'm not telling you to delete ChatGPT or go live off grid with a local model and canned beans. Do I still use ChatGPT? Yes. But my workflows aren't built on trust. They're built on structure. I use prompts I can repeat, rules I can check, steps I can verify, and backups in case something breaks. And I actually look at the output. That's it. You don't have to hate a tool to stop depending on it like it's magic. You just have to stop being lazy about how you use it. Here's the reality. OpenAI is under pressure. They have big revenue goals and even bigger costs. Compute isn't cheap. Talent isn't cheap. None of this is cheap. So yeah, every request starts to matter. That doesn't mean they're trying to scam you. It just means they have incentives. If they can send your request through something faster, cheaper, or more restricted, and they've decided your interaction meets the mark for them doing it, they will. And the thing is, most people don't even realize that's happening. Most people think I open ChatGPT, so I'm talking to one model, right? Not really. You're talking to a system that decides where to send your request. It could be a stronger model, it could be a lighter one, it could be something tuned for safety, it could be a backup. And for me, routing itself isn't the problem. Not knowing what happened is the problem. Not knowing what model is being used is what exposes us to risk. That's where people get confused. And this is where I take issue with OpenAI's lack of transparency. I don't like the whole instant, medium, high setup. That's too basic for serious work. This is coming from someone who used to flash ROMs on my devices to get added features that were locked behind a planned obsolescence wall. Same reason I don't rock with Apple products. I'm someone who's always felt if you sell me a thing, it's mine. I'm not renting, and as such, I should be able to do with it what I want. Give me a confirmation that I can really mess things up if I proceed and let me run the play. Let me pick what I want with the level of control I need, or at least give me the option. Give me a setting that says simple routing if I want the easy button, or manual model control if I need precision. Because when that control is missing, it reinforces the bigger concern. You're not just using a tool, you're being routed through decisions you didn't make. And for casual use, maybe that's fine. But for real workflows, that's not enough. And that's why I don't need to trust OpenAI to use ChatGPT. That might sound weird until you separate using a tool from depending on it. ChatGPT is part of my setup. It's just not the whole thing. The value isn't just the model. It's everything around it. It's how I write prompts, what rules I set, how I check the output, what I compare it against, and what I do if things drift. The model is the engine, the workflow is the car. If something changes, like routing or behavior, I'm not stuck. I can test it. I can tighten the prompt. I can run it somewhere else. I can move it to Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, or even a local model. That's the difference. You don't need blind trust if your process catches problems. You don't need to panic every time something shifts if you're actually paying attention. Most people aren't. For casual use, drift is just annoying. Answers get shorter. Writing feels flat. It refuses things it used to handle. You shrug and move on. But for a business, that same drift costs money. Support bots get worse. Content loses its voice. Sales tools miss context. Data cleanup breaks format. Proposals get weaker. And the worst part is it doesn't crash. It just slowly gets worse. There are no alarms, just lower quality, slower work, and confused customers. People say, I don't know, it just feels off. That's not a real measure. That's just a feeling. You can't run a business on feelings. I swear, every time one of these models gets updated, I get a message from a friend or a colleague saying, why is ChatGPT so dumb after this update? And I'm usually like, I'm not seeing that on my end. And that's because of how I use the tool. Here's the thing. If AI matters to your workflow, you need tests, you need logs, you need reviews, you need something that tells you when things are drifting. Back to Fable 5. That lesson was simple. Access is rented. You can build on a platform and still lose it overnight. Now there's another layer. Quality is rented too. Consistency is rented. Behavior is rented. Routing is rented. Just because the tool is still there doesn't mean your workflow is stable. That's the trap. People think the risk only shows up when the tool disappears. No, the risk is when it stays and quietly changes and you don't notice. If everything you do depends on one provider, one model, one API, and one pricing plan, you don't have a strategy. You have a single point of failure with a nice interface. So what should you actually do? Now, I got you on the dojo drills. Let's get into them. Dojo drill, numero uno, the output regression test. Run your old prompts again. Pick 5 or 10 that matter. Things you rely on. Run them today and compare the results. Did the structure change? The tone? The logic? Are details missing? Are there more refusals? If you're not checking over time, you're just hoping it stays good. Hope isn't a plan. Dojo drill 2. Hardcode your guardrails. Please stop relying on defaults. Tell the model exactly what you want. Give it tone, format, rules, and examples. Tell it what not to do. Tell it when to ask questions and when to stop. Don't assume it just knows. When the model changes, your instructions are what keep things stable. If all of that's only in your head, you don't have a workflow. You have a habit. Dojo drill 3, the 48-hour fallback test. Test a backup. Pick one workflow and run it somewhere else for a few days. Try Claude, Gemini, or something else. Do this before something breaks. See what changes. Look at quality, cost, speed, and setup. If you've never tested your backup, it's not really a backup. It's just something that makes you feel better. And one last tip, this is proven especially useful for the teams I train. Keep a simple log. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just track when something changes, what broke, and what you did about it. Otherwise, you end up arguing from memory. That looks like people saying things like, it used to be better. No, the prompt changed. No, the model changed. Now everyone is guessing. Write it down. Here's the bottom line. You don't need to stop using ChatGPT. Just stop needing it to be perfect. If you're using it casually, save your good prompts and double check things when something feels off. If you're running a business, take it seriously. Use tests, documents, backups, and reviews. Make sure someone owns the workflow. You don't own the model. You're renting it. And when you rent something your business depends on, you plan for the day it changes. That's not being paranoid. That's just being responsible. So yeah, I use ChatGPT. I get value from OpenAI, but I don't trust them blindly. My trust is in my process, my checks, and my ability to move if I need to. That's it. One provider isn't a strategy. One model isn't a safety net. And faith isn't a system. And with that, we'll call it. Thank you for rocking with me in the dojo for this session. If this gave you a better filter, do me a favor and send it to someone that needs to hear it. Hit all the buttons so I know you rock with this kind of content. It helps me grow the channel. Until next time, stay curious, stay balanced, and keep training your mind. Sensei out. Peace. Wisdom as I got